Welcome to episode 9 of the Dan Wilkins Show. Last week we interviewed Ward Burton, a former NASCAR driver and Daytona 500 winner. But today we are interviewing Kyle Weaver, a good old college ball player from Grand Canyon University, but also possibly more known for his TikTok fame, where he's got over 90,000 followers and 3.8 million likes for his baseball-related content. Welcome to the show, Mr. Weaver.
Hey, what's up?
Not much. How about yourself? I mean, it's been maybe a few weeks before I've recorded another episode of this show because we've been transitioning from the quarantine to back to normal life, and I know we're not just there yet, but it's been a little while since I've recorded an episode, so.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to start from the very beginning here. So when did you first gain an interest in baseball when you were a young kid?
Honestly, I started gaining interest in baseball at age 4.5. I got involved in my local Little League, so that was awesome. I ended up not playing Little League throughout the whole time. I stopped when I was about 11. Continued through like some youth baseball, then got to high school baseball, and then played for GCU for 4 months, and then got cut from the program and decided to play club baseball for the school. So I've been in the game for a decent amount of time, about 15 years, and I've loved every second of it. So, yeah, hopefully I can keep playing until somebody puts that block in front of me.
Yeah, I mean, when I interview, especially the baseball players, they always talk about how they started off at a pretty young age. There's only been like maybe one exception, but a lot of the successful baseball players, they start from a very young age. I didn't really start from a young age. I started from 8 years old because I didn't really have a interest in baseball before then. I had other interests, other sports that I was interested in. But when you are very young and you first start to play baseball for the T-ball, for the coach pitch, that sort of stuff, it really paves the way for a lot of these people, just like you know, to get into a D1 school and start playing college ball there. So when did you first start playing, when did you first start to take baseball seriously as a sport that you could legitimately turn into a career?
Sort of like the end of school, which would have been around 6th grade, that's where I was like, okay, I need to buckle down and just like focus on playing the game of baseball. And so I quit soccer, and then I just made baseball my main priority as far as playing sports. And that's where I really buckled down and got involved as far as like a travel ball team, and played for another team as well. So, I mean, that's where I really like started focusing on baseball pretty much. So, yeah.
So moving on now to the high school baseball days, what do you think was your favorite thing or moment or whatever about playing in high school baseball?
I mean, I think my favorite moment was, you know, my freshman year. I was like, my goal is to play varsity baseball my freshman year. And that was going to be something that, you know, if I played varsity baseball, I was hoping I would play the rest of my 4 years at my high school. So I made the fall team as far as varsity, as far as varsity goes. And then in the spring, I ended up making the varsity team as well my freshman year. So I was hyped about that. Like, that was my main goal. Like, I was so happy that ended up happening. And I mean, I wasn't like the worst player on the team, but I mean, I obviously wasn't the best. But I was just happy to be with those guys and be able to compete at that level at such a young age. So, I mean, that was probably like one of my highlights in college, was being able – not college, my bad – as far as high school, because like my main goal going into high school. And that was one of my highlights. And then I'm trying to think. My second highlight as far as college goes – not college. I keep saying college. As far as high school goes, my senior year, we ended up going 20-0. And then we had like a little bump in the road, and we ended up losing the game. But we won 20 games in a row, and that was the greatest feeling because we had like all local headlines as far as a high school baseball team. So, I mean, people started showing up to our games, which was awesome. And I was playing at that time, so I was being a part of it. So, yeah, we ended up winning 20 games, and then, you know, we hit that bump in the road, and we were like, oh, it's a bummer. But, you know, we had that streak going, which was awesome. So
it's almost like the Moneyball.
Those are my two highlights.
The Moneyball 20-game win streak, or what the Indians did in 2017. So, and you were talking about before how, even though you admit that you're not the best player on your high school team or that you weren't the best player on your high school team, that's kind of one of the things about adjusting to different levels of the sport. If you're in Little League, if you're the best player on your Little League team, you might not be the best player on your high school team. It's very slim chances that that'll happen. So it's really adjusting and kind of fitting to your expectations, really.
Exactly. Yeah, I felt that same way because I was one of the best players growing up, but once I got to high school, I was like, man, these guys are bigger, stronger. I'm gonna have to compete with these guys. So I had to step up my game so I could, get a starting position, and I ended up getting the starting position my sophomore year because the other guy left. But yeah, it was awesome making that my freshman year for sure.
So what do you think factored in your decision to eventually go to Grand Canyon University?
So as far as making my decision to go to Grand Canyon, I was interested in going to the school, obviously, for just education purposes. But then they showed some interest in me for baseball, so I was like, this is awesome. Like, not only do I get to go to an amazing school, but I get to go play for an amazing program. That was cut a little bit shorter than I originally planned. But, I got to play with them for 4 months, and I'm still going to go there and play club baseball the remainder of my years there, which is going to be 3 years. Great school. I don't know. I just a lot of great things about it prior to going to that school. So that's what kind of led me towards that direction, and kind of just stuck there because I've had a good experience my freshman year. So I don't plan on leaving that school because it's an amazing school. So yeah.
So what do you think was the toughest transition that you had to make from high school baseball to college ball?
I'm trying to think. Yeah, the guys are obviously going to be better because they're from, all over the U.S. I think we had guys from New Jersey, Wisconsin. So, you're not just battling with guys that are in your local area. You're battling with guys that are, all over the U.S., which is kind of hard. And you got to beat those guys out at that position. And, in college ball, I know as far as Division I, they're going to have guys, that they recruit from all over the place, such as like junior colleges. And they'll just come in, they want that spot. They want your spot. They don't want to be playing at that junior college anymore. So they're going to try to win out a spot over at your school. So, as far as high school baseball, you come in as a freshman or, whatever year. But, it's just not the same because you don't have people coming over from, battling for your position all over the United States, at that specific school, especially like a big school like Grand Canyon. I think we have around, I'm going to go 20,000, but some of them are online, but that's a different conversation. But yeah, a lot of the guys you're battling with are from all over the place, and it's kind of hard to, keep that position locked down as well as competing with other guys. Because if you slip, you're going to have a hard time getting back up to where you were. So I think that was the hardest part about, playing for those 4 months, playing for that team. Because, coming in as a freshman, it was hard. Because, you had these guys that were juniors. They're obviously older and more experienced. And, just different body, like a body build, So, I had to compete with that. I had to get stronger, faster, all that good stuff. And I think the transition between high school baseball and college baseball was obviously the discipline that you had to have. You had to, balance out your school, like you're, going to school and classes and stuff like that. And then high school baseball, you go to like 6 classes a day, and then you kind of just know what's going on. Same stuff every single day. And then college, they could throw you a curveball. One day it could be, you have classes for, 6 hours, and you have to go to another 6 hours worth of baseball. So, yeah, it was a lot different transitioning to that. But, yeah, I enjoyed playing those 4 months for that school. It's an amazing program, and I have nothing bad to say about them. So, yeah.
So which level of baseball do you think you like better overall, the high school ball and the college ball? Which one did you like better?
The place that I'm at right now, so I don't play for the NCAA team, which is like the main team for the school. They're a Division I team. I play club baseball, which is basically just a branch down from that, which is basically, I don't know if you play travel ball or something like that. It's like continued high school baseball,
but with better quality players as far as like their talent level. So I mean, that's the spot. I mean, I enjoy playing. High school baseball, it was kind of just like boring, like, same, like all the kids were from the same area. And then, I mean, club ball, you get to play with guys that are at your school, obviously, kind of like high school baseball, but I mean, there's more competitive, so that's what I enjoy. You get to play teams from different states. High school baseball, I mean, you play teams within your area, and then if you make it to the top, you end up playing guys from like, different states. But what I like about club baseball from high school, you play guys that are from different states every game. We do play series. We play a series of 3, but every 3 games we play new guys from. I mean, we played Southern Utah, teams from 2 hours away, such as like U of A. We were supposed to play ASU, but I mean, the whole coronavirus thing kind of, cut that short. But we played teams from Northern California, like things like that. It's not the same as high school baseball. So, I mean, that was fun. I enjoy playing club baseball. It's a lot better than, playing high school baseball. So,
I mean, absolutely. And with the other college ball player that I talked to in episode 4, Ethan Whitley, he was talking about how one of the big differences was the speed, at least when it came to pitching. Because in high school, it was very rare to see a high school pitcher throwing at least over 90 miles an hour. In college, if you don't throw 90, it might get you cut off the team.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's essentially it. It's a big transition, especially for somebody of a younger age who doesn't, trying to make that transition from high school to college ball. It's difficult.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I would have to say that's probably one of the most difficult experience I've had in baseball is transitioning from that level. Because, I mean, at my high school, we weren't the best team. So we weren't facing the best competition. And then I took a huge jump to play Division I for those, 4 months. And it was a big transition because, I mean, these guys are throwing, I think, 88 to 96 compared to my high school where guys were throwing 78 to 83. So, I mean, it was a huge jump, obviously, especially being a batter and during that time I was a catcher, but yeah, it was a huge jump. Definitely.
Oh, yeah. So even though you are playing college baseball at GCU for your next 3 years, do you eventually hope that you're going to be signed by a MLB franchise or independent league? Like, what are your, I guess, goals moving forward as a GCU athlete?
I mean, I don't really have I don't know. As far as like club baseball goes, they're not really like professional scouts really don't show up to those games. It's kind of just like other colleges because they're kind of recruit club baseball players because they know they're not as good as the talent that's on like the main Division I team. But, they're not the worst players. So the colleges kind of look at them. But I mean, as far as my future going forward as a baseball player, I don't really see minor leagues or getting signed with any professional team as like a part of my future. I mean, it would be nice. Like I'd take it for sure. But I mean, in reality, I mean, there's probably not a chance that's going to happen. There's a small chance, but I'm trying to focus on my education as far as like business because that's my major at my school. So I'm focusing on that, and then wherever that ends up taking me, I'll pursue that.
Well, I mean, in 2010, first overall pick was Bryce Harper out of a junior college. So even if you, like, for one reason or another, got picked up by a junior college, you could have still gotten drafted by a major league franchise or something like that. Because remember,
exactly, yeah.
By the time, because you're class of 23 for your college, right?
Yes.
So if you're class of 23, by the time 2023 comes around, Corona's hopefully going to be long gone, or at least in the past, to a lesser degree.
Yeah, hopefully.
So by that time, the MLB draft is probably going to be back up to its regular 40 rounds, and that means there's going to be like 1,000 picks made. I'm not saying it's out of the question. So that's why I just brought it up. So
yeah.
So far out of your entire baseball career, whether it's high school, college, club baseball, or whatever it is, what do you think is your favorite moment from your career so far?
I'm going to have to go with – okay, so 13 years old, I was playing for this travel ball team from my local area. And we were supposed to go to Farmington, New Mexico to play in a World Series type format of where we have a whole bunch of teams for the U.S. that meet in this one place at 13-year-olds. And we were like, and then the tournament got canceled. So we were like, oh crap, what are we going to do? So, I mean, we were trying to find local tournaments to play in, and we found another tournament that had the World Series title. And we were like, we need to play in this. So that was up in Lake Tahoe. I think it's considered Nevada. Not real sure. But anyways, we played a World Series up in Lake Tahoe my 13-year-old year. And there was good talent up there. I think there was 25 teams. And I mean, it's not as big as, the tournament we were going to play in Farmington, New Mexico. But I mean, there was a decent amount of teams that had good talent up there. So we ended up going up there to play, obviously, the World Series. And we won every single game. We blew out every single team. And it was amazing because, our mind was set on playing a different tournament. I mean, we kind of just flipped that back over, and we wanted to go up to wherever that was, Lake Tahoe. And our mindset had to change. We're going to be playing a different caliber of baseball players. And we ended up playing really well. I think we went 8-0, if I remember correctly. I don't know. It was close to 7 years ago. But yeah, we went 8-0, and we ended up winning the championship game. And that was awesome. We got the rings and everything. We got all that fun extra stuff. But yeah, the last game was a real battle because, I mean, we never really faced that talent before, but we all stuck it out and we won that game, which was amazing. So yeah, it was kind of a last minute decision. So we had to reset our minds and, focus on that tournament, which was kind of the big part mentally for all of us. But, as far as that's probably one of my bigger highlights. I always look back on that memory. I'm like, man, that was a fun time with all those guys I was playing with. They were good guys. So yeah, as far as a baseball standpoint, that was probably one of my highlights of my career.
Absolutely. And I mean, moving on from baseball now, I guess 2 more baseball or social media. So obviously, as I stated in the first part of this episode, you have a large following on TikTok with over 90,000 followers and almost 4 million likes. Let's go back to the beginning of that. When and why did you first start making TikToks?
Basically, okay, so my accounts didn't actually start off as a baseball account. It started off as, a dancing account, just like every other person kind of makes. But I mean, that didn't really take off. I mean, I didn't have the dance skills to, pursue that and pick that niche to be able to, dance for TikTok. So I started making political stuff. I mean, my account took off. It got around 20,000 followers. I was making political content, and, it didn't agree with my views weren't accepted by a lot of the people that were on TikTok. And I was getting threats through DMs and stuff like that. People were trolling me, and I was like, I'm tired of this. I'm stepping out of the whole political game. I obviously made friends through that. And I just stepped out of it. I was like, what other content could I possibly make that people would like, that I'm passionate about? All right, I'm going to pick baseball. So I ended up making baseball content, comedies type stuff. And, people ended up liking it. I picked out the dark humor of baseball, and people ended up liking it, such as, stuff that happens off the field, such as parenting, parents arguing with each other, stuff out, stuff outside the game as well as stuff inside the game where, I mean, my audience isn't really towards necessarily just baseball players, but, people that enjoy comedy with sports. And, yeah, I kind of just took off from there. I stopped the political stuff. And, I hopped on the boat of, creating the baseball content. And I mean, I'm passionate about it. I've been playing for a decent amount of time. So I know what kind of goes on with the baseball stuff. So, I mean, I just took that and rode with it. And I mean, I am where I am now, and I'm blessed to be able to have all these people that like my content. So, I mean, I'm going to continue to make them happy. I like making the content. I probably won't stop until, that block gets put in front of me. So, yeah.
So when did you first realize you were starting to pick up speed, gaining more followers, getting a whole bunch of likes? When did you first realize that this TikTok thing was starting to gain momentum for you?
So, I mean, I started I started, generating followers right after I stopped. I had one video that went pretty viral. I think it had around, I'm going to say roughly 3.5 million views. Mm-hmm. And I was like, you know what? I grabbed some attention from the baseball community. I'm going to take this and ride with it. It was it was like a walk-up song, as far as like I made a joke about like Big Country, how they always play like country songs when they're walking up, like
Yes.
the 6'5" corn-fed dudes that are 330 pounds that are just absolutely smashing the ball. And I had like a walk-up song for them. And I posted that, and like one day it had 3 million views, and I was like, wow, people actually like this content. So I mean, I rode with it, and I continue to make stuff. I made stereotype videos, like different like personalities of baseball players that play certain positions. You know, people like that stuff. So I mean, I just kind of just took it and rode with it. And I mean, I'm still making content today, obviously. So I mean, that's kind of where my content started, you know, getting more creative, and more people started following me and appreciating the content that I put out there. So it's awesome. I love it.
So what do you think are your what are your favorite and least favorite things about making TikToks?
I mean, okay, so I make stereotype videos, and obviously some people do not agree with the certain stereotypes about their position that they play. So I mean, I obviously get hate for that, but other people think it's funny. Some people take it personal, which I mean, it's all jokes. I mean,
Yes.
I don't play every position on the field, so I can't talk for every single baseball player that plays every single position out there. But I mean, you know, yeah, people leave me hate comments. I mean, I don't really pay attention to them. I get them, I see them, but I mean, I don't really pay attention to them. Obviously, my favorite part is being able to, you know, like talk to people, baseball players from all over the country, pretty much like all over the world. Like I'll have people that like connect with me on social media that are like from all over the world. As far as I think somebody was like from Russia. Somehow they figured out how to speak English on my account. So I had a few people that contacted me. Yeah. I think that's what it was. But yeah, they did that. And yeah, I think somebody from Africa, you know. And then yeah, my what should I say? Like my audience is aimed towards like 6-year-olds to, you know, like 40-year-olds. So
it's a wide range.
I mean, I gotta keep it. Yeah. Yeah. Pretty much the people that are on TikTok, I would say. I mean, not too often I see people that are over 40 years old that are on TikTok, because they're kind of, you know, not really interested in that type of stuff. But yeah, I mean, I got to aim my content towards that audience. I got to keep it age appropriate. So yeah, that was a big thing.
So finally, before we wrap this up, what advice would you give to a young ball player who's trying to play D1 college ball like you did?
So yeah, I mean, my career was obviously cut short. It was only 4 months playing Division I baseball. But I mean, if you're aspiring to be a Division I baseball player or Division I athlete at all, prepare yourself, as well as like, you know, keep your body in shape, stay focused on school. Don't let that drag behind you. I mean, yeah, just put your body in a position where, you know, you nutritionally, you're ready to play baseball. As far as, I mean, talent has a lot to do with it, but if you're, you know, not nutritionally or not fit enough to play Division I baseball, your career will just, you know, end right there. So yeah, athleticism has a lot to do with it. As far as like a mental standpoint for playing Division I baseball, keep grinding until somebody puts that block in front of you. I've had certain parts of my career where people are just like, you know, we can't have you on this team. And I'm like, okay, well, I need to work to get better and play for a certain team of that caliber. So, I mean, people are going to obviously come in and try to, you know, take certain parts of the game away from you, and you just can't let them stop you. You're only going to limit yourself. Don't let other people limit you, you know? That was the one thing I noticed from my whole baseball career. Like I had stumps in the road where people were just like, all right, you're not as good as the guy that's in front of you. You're just going to have to sit and ride it out until, you know, this guy leaves or you get better. You know, I didn't let that get to my head. So I obviously did something about it. So I ended up, you know, trying to get better, get stronger, and I ended up on top. But I mean, yeah, my career did end short as far as a Division I baseball player. But I mean, it was fun when I did play for them. So, I mean, yeah, just like keep your head on straight. Don't let other outside distractions distract you from, you know, your overall goal, which would be playing Division I sport, wherever sport it is. So yeah, just keep your head on straight. Don't get too distracted with other stuff, because it's easy to get obviously distracted with other stuff.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I agree.
yeah, that's my 2 cents on that. So.
All right, well, that'll wrap it up for episode 9 of the Dan Wilkins Show. Thank you for joining us, Mr. Weaver.
I appreciate it. Have a good rest of your day.
You as well. Make sure to check out episode 10 of the Dan Wilkins Show coming up right after this, probably next week. We'll see what happens. But anyways, this is Dan Wilkins signing off for now. We'll see you.